Go ahead.
So yeah, I want to make clear, just in case the thing didn't make it on the first section of recording, that I'm not criticizing the Quran one way or another. I'm not saying it's good, bad, or indifferent. But I do not want to hear this sort of stuff that this woman is not exceptional. What she was saying was the Quran's awesome style, and she was suggesting it had awesome thoughts and all that sort of stuff. And my reaction was, have you read it? I could see, and she said, no, she's taken a course. This is second level course. I don't pay instructors in any religious studies. It doesn't matter. They don't deal with the original documents. I took Hinduism out there from a great guy, great instructors, a great course, but she actually didn't deal with the original documents. What? It's the same thing with Islam. I suspect it's the same thing with Christianity. It's the same thing with Judaism. What you get is a lot of platitudes and that sort of stuff and generalities. Read the original. It's required reading. Reading all these basic documents. The Analects of Confucius, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the New Testament, the Old Testament, or the Scriptures, as Jews might prefer to call it, the Quran, Ahadith or Hadith, however you want to call it, the Sirahs of Muhammad, the biographies of Muhammad.
You said before the Communist Manifesto.
Some sort of stuff, let's say the Rig Veda, or the, from the Hindu point of view, Communist Manifesto, The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, the Bible for capitalists. For Latter-day capitalists, get hold of Milton Friedman's book. I've actually gone through it. Now, that one's a lengthy piece. And, I don't want to hear capitalists yipping and yapping about Milton Friedman unless they've actually read him. Read a little bit of von Hayek, or however you want to pronounce it. I don't want to hear stuff from people who are just making generalities. It's like giving a movie review where you haven't seen the movie. Now, I will give a review for a movie, and I will say I slept through it. That's the only thing you can say if you haven't read it, is I started it, and I got 10 pages into the New Testament, and I couldn't finish it. Okay, that's kind of like a review. But I don't want the 2 thumbs up, Siebert and Siskel, or Siskel and Siebert, Hebert, or whatever their names is, 2 thumbs up when they haven't read it at all. The only judgment I can draw from that is I'm not judging the religion or the books or the sacred books from that. I'm judging the person. It's absolutely stupid. And this person did it in front of witnesses. A daughter or a granddaughter, and then there were 2 people I was talking to, and amazing. Like, to me, she'd heard me talking about these sorts of things and talking about studying, not reading them, and she wants to kind of blow smoke at me, we'll say. And wow, it took a supreme act of reticence for me not to go to town, not to go to town on her. It's just shameful. I don't want to hear any more fake left-wingers going to town on saying stupid things like that. This is why you got Donald Trump saying fake news. What she was doing was fake news. Just making it up. Fake news. Okay? Well, all you're doing is giving that idiot ammunition. Cut it out. Okay?
So, yeah, and you were saying earlier that essential reading, also the Communist Manifesto and Mein Kampf?
Mein Kampf, too. Yeah, there's a lot of this stuff weaseling out of the woodwork. A lot of communists and stuff. Read Trotsky. Look at Trotsky. Look at the way he dressed. There's a lot of Trotskyites out there. Some. Vanessa Redgrave's still alive. Should have died of embarrassment a long time ago. Read them, read them talk. Read Lenin. Read him when he's talking about being ruthless and revolutionary terrorism and how they're going to practice it. Yeah, they practice, and lots of people suffered. Lots and lots of people died as a result, and all for nothing. The system just crumpled up and withered away. All for nothing. And now, like the legacy of that is now, who knows how many people are going to die. Like they say Mao, I don't know how true it is, killed off 70 million people. The system that he set up, it's been morphed through some changes, transmogrifications and stuff like that, but it's still there. And now, what's the world facing? If everyone catches this crazy disease that's coming out of China, the coronavirus, if everyone catches it and everyone continues dying at the same rate, those are a couple of big ifs. Hopefully they'll get some sort of a vaccine for it or whatever. At the rate it's going, if everyone catches it, something like 130,000 people will die. Times 1,000! 130 million people will die. And it's because the communists in China were crushing it. I didn't realize how long they were suppressing it. A month.
Really?
A month. Well, I can't say really. I was checking it out on the internet. You got to be really careful about that sort of
Yes,
stuff.
but this is what they've done in the past, right? They'll try to hide the fact
They did
that
it in the
have some
past.
sort of
I'm
virus
looking at the
going,
internet.
and
These are
all of a
semi-official.
sudden it flies out of there. But
Semi-official
you were talking
sites are saying we've got a better handle in when SARS came down. You know how many people caught SARS? Apparently 8,000. You know what it's sitting now for this coronavirus? 14,000.
Oh wow! So
Yeah, you got a real handle on it. And you look at the. I was hoping that it kind of leveled off a little bit, but what it's looking like is this kind of curve.
Oh good.
This is as of
that's
last
terrific.
night. Yeah.
So
they've lost the handle on it.
it's too bad that we didn't get out to the country earlier because we might die.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah, I
But
got a compromised immune system. My dad, what's going to happen to him? He's 90. Just turned 97 a couple of days ago. What's going to happen to him? He's got a kind of constitution would make a horse look like a piker. He could easily make it to 100, but Lord only knows what's going to happen. It looks as though 2% of the people are dying, and he's in that 2% would be most susceptible.
Well, make sure you're eating that horseradish, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was happening was they were sending people quotas to hospitals. You better not have this rate of infection. So what are the
so they're just saying,
zero rate of infection?
Rate.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the way communists work. You got to live up to your quotas. This is what they were doing in the Soviet Union. When I was a kid, studying the geography of the Soviet Union, the Soviet Union had according to the stats, half the per capita GDP of the United States. It's about 72, 73. And then they were saying they had a 10% growth rate. In a little over 10 years, because the Americans were reporting something like a 2% growth rate, maybe even lower some years. Well, a little over 10 years, the Soviets would have caught up. But when the system collapsed, and we are actually getting the actual results, we're finding out that the economy was going down in the 80s. Their health system works. It works great, Yeah. You can see how it works.
Yeah, you got to wonder though if you're probably right, and it's probably not intentional that the virus got out, and that viruses in the past have gotten out of China. But the current world where you're thinking about biological warfare and stuff like that, you really have to wonder if, especially with places like China, who are literally stealing sand from the ocean and making their own country bigger, the land space, while other countries are losing their shoreline because China's taking the sand, right? And
well, believe me, this stuff is
you have to wonder if they're actually, you talk about how there's a lot of poorer countries that just won't be able to control the virus when it gets in.
I was
and
looking at the places
about whether China intentionally is wiping out populations.
Well, they're wiping out their own very effectively, but thank heavens, it hasn't spread to third world countries. It's basically in East Asia and then in the developed countries. And they've got to stop it now. The Chinese, just like the last 48 hours or so, they're saying, How can you be shutting travel to and from us? That's not an act of goodwill. You useless pukes. I'm talking about the people who are ruling China. You have been behaving with such ill will since 1949. Absolute ill will to your own people and outside, exporting this violence to Vietnam. You let the North Koreans get hydrogen bombs. You useless pukes. And you're saying it's not goodwill. You are lucky the rest of the world isn't stomping in there and getting rid of your stupid, corrupt, evil regime. Absolutely. I'm sick of you guys. Sick of you. So yeah, there's the WHO. I think that's a UN organization, World Health Organization.
Yeah.
I think it was about a day ago, they finally declared it an international emergency. The day before they decided not to meet. They'd met the day before. What? You should be meeting every day. I presume you're supposed to work 8 hours a day, and you're getting funding from the United States, probably funding from Canada and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, how hard is it to set up a Skype session?
Or
seriously.
whatever.
Board meeting, 5 minutes.
Stupid
Skype.
morons at WHO. I want to talk about you. Who are you? Who the fuck are you? As the WHO saying. Who are you, you stupid idiots? I never elected you guys. Sitting around, squatting around, earning your money, and not earning your money, drawing your money. You don't earn it. You going around saying, we don't want people fearing. Fear is healthy, just like pain is healthy. Agony isn't. Panic is not healthy. Fear is, and you're going saying, don't fear. And that's why this thing is getting out of hand. You've got to fear something like this. Man, oh man. I'm absolutely frosted. I think I'm getting it across too.